Hello and welcome. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Before we begin, if these sleep stories bring you peace, I'd be grateful if you take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps others discover these restful journeys too. But for now, let everything else fade away. This is your time to rest, to create, to be present in the quiet hours before dawn. Let's take a few moments to prepare your body and mind for tonight's gentle work. There's nowhere else you need to be. Just allow yourself to be here, ready to enter the bakery where bread is made in the peaceful pre-dawn hours. Find your most comfortable position. Let your body be fully supported. Adjust anything you need. This is your time for deep, restorative rest. Bring awareness to your breathing. You don't need to change it, just notice it. The gentle rise and fall of your chest, the soft flow of air moving in and out, steady as the rhythm of kneading dough. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it gently and release it slowly, letting it carry away any tension from your day. Again, breathe in slowly, hold, and release, feeling your body sink deeper into comfort with each breath. One more time, breathing in peace, holding that calm and breathing out anything you no longer need to carry. Now let your breathing return to its natural rhythm, easy and effortless. Feel your forehead becoming smooth and soft. Any lines of worry or tension melt away. Your forehead is calm, relaxed, at peace. Your eyes are gently closed, the muscles around them soft and loose. There's nothing you need to see right now. You're safe to rest, safe to let go. Feel your jaw releasing, teeth slightly apart. Your tongue rests softly. Your whole face is peaceful and serene. Your neck and shoulders, where we carry so much, feel them softening now, letting go, dropping away from your ears, heavy and relaxed. Your arms rest comfortably, heavy and warm. A gentle wave of relaxation flows down through your shoulders, elbows, forearms, hands and fingers, leaving them soft and still. Your chest rises and falls with each easy breath. Your heart beats steadily, calmly. Your whole torso is relaxed, supported, at ease. Feel your back against the surface beneath you. Any tension dissolves, melting away. Your legs are heavy and warm. Feel relaxation moving down your thighs, past your knees, into your calves, down through ankles, feet, all the way to your toes. Your entire body rests in deep, peaceful relaxation, heavy, warm, comfortable, and still. And your mind, your beautiful mind, give it permission to rest now. Thoughts may come like the first stirrings of a village before dawn. Let them be. You don't need to follow them or hold them. Just let them drift. You are safe, you are warm, you are ready for the quiet work of baking. In a moment, we'll visit a village bakery in the hours before dawn, a place where bread is made with care and patience, where warmth spreads from ovens, where the day begins with the smell of baking and the satisfaction of creating something nourishing. A story where nothing urgent happens, no rushing, no stress, just peaceful, productive work in the gentle darkness before sunrise. If you drift away into sleep at any point, That's perfect. That's exactly what this is for. Take one more deep breath in and out. Now let's begin. It's 4 in the morning and the village is still asleep. The sky is that deep blue black of pre-dawn, studded with stars that will soon fade as morning approaches. The air is cool and fresh, carrying the faint scent of wood smoke from someone's overnight fire. You walk down the cobblestone street toward the bakery, your footsteps quiet in the sleeping village. The stones are smooth and worn, shaped by centuries of feet walking this same path. Street lamps cause pools of golden light at intervals, and your shadow moves with you, long and peaceful. Most windows are dark, curtains drawn, families sleeping soundly in their beds. But here and there a light glows from a kitchen window where someone else is awake in these quiet hours. A farmer preparing for morning chores perhaps, or a mother with a restless baby. You're not alone in being awake, but you're part of a small, quiet company. The bakery sits in the center of the village, a stone building that's been here for longer than anyone can remember. You can see it ahead, warm light glowing from its windows, smoke rising from its chimney, the only truly awake building on this sleeping street. As you approach, you catch the first hint of the scent, yeast and flour, warmth and promise. The bakery has been working for an hour already, the oven's heating, the first batch of dough rising. The smell makes something in you relax, something primal and comforting. The smell of bread has meant safety and sustenance. For as long as humans have baked, you reach the door, painted blue and worn smooth by use. A bell hangs above it, but you don't ring it. Instead, you push the door open gently and step inside. The warmth embraces you immediately, a welcoming contrast to the cool morning air. The bakery is lit by oil lamps and the glow from the ovens, creating a golden light that makes everything seem softer, kinder, more peaceful than daylight ever could. The front room is the shop, where customers will come later in the morning to buy their bread and pastries. Now it's empty and quiet, the wooden counter clean and ready, shelves waiting to be filled with the day's baking. Everything is scrubbed and orderly, prepared for the business of the day but not yet in use. A doorway leads to the back, to the heart of the bakery, and you move through it into the workroom. This room is larger, with a high ceiling crossed by dark wooden beams. The walls are whitewashed, plaster, clean and bright in the lamplight. A long wooden table dominates the center of the room, its surface worn smooth by years of kneading and rolling, dusted now with flour that catches the light like snow. Along one wall stand the ovens, 3 of them, built of brick and tile, their doors open to reveal the fires burning inside. The heat radiates from them, filling the room with warmth. Above the ovens herbs hang, drying from hooks, adding their scent to the air. Rosemary and thyme, sage and lavender. Shelves line another wall holding bowls and pans, measuring cups and wooden spoons, all the tools of the baker's trade. Everything has its place, everything is clean and ready. This is a workspace that's been organized by someone who loves their craft, who takes pride in their tools and their space. And in the center of it all stands the baker. She's a woman of indeterminate age, her hair silver and pulled back in a simple bun, her face lined with years of early mornings and hard work, but peaceful and content. She wears a simple dress covered by a large apron, both dusted with flour. Her hands are strong and capable, the hands of someone who's shaped thousands of loaves, who knows dough by touch and feel rather than measurement. She looks up as you enter and smiles, her face crinkling with welcome. "Good morning," she says, her voice soft and warm. "You're just in time." The first batch of dough is ready for kneading, and there's much to do before the village wakes. "Come, wash your hands. We have bread to make." You move to the deep stone sink in the corner, pumping water from the well that runs cold and clean. You wash your hands thoroughly with soap that smells of lavender, drying them on a clean linen towel that hangs nearby. The ritual feels important, a preparation not just for work but for something almost sacred. The making of bread, the feeding of community, the transformation of simple ingredients into sustenance. "Ready?" the baker asks, and you nod. On the work table sits a large wooden bowl, covered with a damp cloth that's been there through the night, keeping the moisture in, protecting the dough as it worked and grew. The baker removes the cloth with a practiced flourish, folding it neatly and setting it aside, revealing the dough inside. It's risen beautifully, more than doubled in size from when it was first mixed. The surface is smooth and slightly domed, stretched tight like a balloon, covered with tiny bubbles, where the yeast has been working through the night, consuming sugars, producing carbon dioxide, creating the structure that will become bread. You can see the life in it, the activity even though it sits still. "This is the first batch," the baker explains, her voice taking on the tone of a teacher, someone who loves to share their knowledge and finds joy in passing it on. "I mixed it last night, before I went to bed around 9 o'clock. Just flour and water, salt and yeast, and time. That's all bread really needs, time and warmth and patience. The ingredients are simple. The magic is in what happens while you wait." She tips the bowl gently and the dough slides out onto the floured table with a soft, slightly wet sound. It moves as one piece, cohesive and strong, holding its shape as it lands. It's pale, almost white in the lamplight, smooth and alive, in a way that's hard to explain. It has weight and substance, but also something more, something that speaks of transformation and potential. "Look at the texture," the baker says, running her finger gently across the surface. "See how smooth it is? That's the gluten, already developed just from the overnight rise, but will make it even better now. Kneading will strengthen it, organize those gluten strands, give the bread structure so it can hold all the air the yeast produces and rise high and light." She dusts her hands with flour, a quick practiced motion that leaves them perfectly coated without excess. Then she places both hands on the dough and you watch as she begins to work. "Now we knead," she says, demonstrating with movements that are both strong and gentle. Her hands press into the dough, pushing it away from her across the table. Then she folds it back over itself, gathering it up. Push and fold, a rhythm as old as civilization, a motion that's been repeated billions of times by bakers throughout history. Kneading develops the gluten, aligns those protein strands, gives the bread structure and strength. But it's also meditation, a way of putting care into the loaf. Every push of the hands is a wish for nourishment, for health, for the people who will eat this bread. She continues kneading for a moment, her movement steady and sure before stepping back slightly to give you space at the table. Here, she says, dividing the dough. You take this portion, I'll work on this one, we'll knead together. You step up to the table and place your own hand on the dough. It's cool to the touch despite the warmth of the room, smooth and elastic and somehow pleasant. The texture is unlike anything else, part solid, part fluid, responsive to pressure but also resistant. You begin to knead, copying the baker's rhythm as best you can. Push and fold, push and fold. At first your movements are uncertain, too gentle and then too rough, but gradually you find the rhythm. The dough responds to your touch, becoming smoother with each fold, more elastic, stronger. You can feel it changing under your hands, the transformation happening in real time. The rough, slightly sticky mass becoming sleek and smooth, developing what bakers call silky. The gluten strands aligning, creating structure, building strength. The work is physical but not difficult. It requires attention but not mental effort. Your hands find the rhythm naturally and your mind can rest, can simply be present in the sensation. The feel of the dough cool and smooth under your palms. The warmth of the room radiating from the ovens. The quiet of the pre-dawn hour, broken only by the soft sounds of work. The thud of dough on wood, the whisper of flour being disturbed, your own breathing, steady and calm. The crackle of fire in the ovens, constant and reassuring. The baker works beside you on her own portion of dough, and together you knead in comfortable silence. There's no need for words. The work speaks for itself, creates its own communication. You fall into sync with her rhythm without trying, your pushes and folds matching hers, creating a kind of duet of bread making. The lamplight flickers slightly in a draft you can't feel, creating moving shadows on the whitewashed walls. Outside, the world is still dark, still sleeping. But here in the bakery, the day has begun in the gentlest, most productive way possible. You're making bread while the village sleeps, preparing nourishment for people you may never meet, people who'll buy this loaf and break it at their table and be sustained by it. There's something profound in that, something that connects you to every person who's ever made bread, who's ever fed their community, who's ever turned simple ingredients into something essential. After what might be 10 minutes or might be 20, time having become fluid and unimportant in the rhythm of the work, the baker stops and checks her dough. She presses it with one finger firmly but not aggressively, and you watch as the dough slowly springs back, filling in the impression her finger made. Good, she says, satisfied. You can tell it's ready by how it springs back. See? If it springs back quickly, it needs more kneading. If it doesn't spring back at all, you've over-kneaded it and damaged the gluten. But this is perfect. It springs back slowly, which means the gluten is developed but not overworked. She checks your dough as well, pressing it the same way, watching the response. Excellent, she says with genuine pleasure. You have good instincts. This is ready too. Now we shape it into loaves. The baker divides the dough into portions using a metal dough scraper, cutting through the mass with quick confident movements. Each portion is placed on the scale, an old brass balance that's probably been in this bakery for generations. The weights are smooth with use, darkened by the oils from countless hands. She adjusts each portion, adding a pinch here, removing a bit there until each one weighs exactly the same. Precision matters, she says, watching the scale balance perfectly. Each loaf should be the same size, should bake the same way, should feed the same number of people. It's about fairness and consistency. But also, she adds with a slight smile, after enough years, you can feel when the weight is right in your hands. Your muscles remember, but I still check every time. Pride has no place in baking, only care, only attention. The moment you think you don't need to check is the moment you make a mistake. She takes one portion of dough and shows you the shaping process. Her movements slow down so you can follow. Watch carefully, she says. Shaping is where you give the bread its final form, its structure. This determines how it will rise in the oven, how it will look, how the crumb will be inside. She flattens the dough gently with her palms, pressing it into a rough rectangle, not rolling it, not using force, just pressing with her hands to distribute the air evenly. We don't want to knock out all the air, she explains. We just want to redistribute it, make it even. Then she folds the dough in thirds like folding a letter, pressing each fold to seal it. The motion is practiced, efficient, but also somehow reverent, as if each loaf deserves this care. Finally, she rolls the rectangle up from one end, creating a cylinder, and seals the seam by pressing firmly along its length. She rolls the loaf back and forth a few times to even it out, then places its seam side down. There, she says, that's the basic shape for a sandwich loaf. Simple, but it requires practice to get right. The tension on the surface is important. Too loose and it won't rise properly. Too tight and it will tear. You watch her shape 2 more loaves with the same careful attention, each one identical to the last. Then she steps back and invites you to try. You take a portion of dough, surprised again by how it feels in your hands, how alive it seems. You try to copy her movements. Flatten gently, fold in thirds, roll up, seal. Your loaf isn't as neat as hers, the shape slightly lopsided, the surface not quite as smooth, but the baker nods encouragement. Good, she says warmly. Very good for a first attempt. You have gentle hands. That's important in baking. Some people try to force the dough to manhandle it into shape, but that creates tough bread, dense bread. Gentleness creates an open crumb, a tender interior. The dough responds to how you touch it. Treat it gently and it will be gentle in your mouth. You shape more loaves, your technique improving with each one. The motion becomes more natural, less conscious. Your hands learn the feel of proper tension, the right amount of pressure. It's satisfying work, this shaping, turning a mass of dough into something recognizable, something that will become bread. The shaped loaves are placed carefully in long proofing baskets lined with linen cloths that have been in use for so long they're soft as silk. The baskets are dusted with flour to prevent sticking. Each loaf is placed seam side up in its basket. Then the baker covers them all with clean cloths, tucking them in like tucking in children for sleep. They'll rest here and rise again, she says, stepping back to survey the row of covered baskets. This is the final rise, the final proof. We call it proofing. The dough is proving that it can rise, that the yeast is active, that everything is working as it should. It will take about an hour, maybe a bit more, depending on the temperature of the room, the strength of the yeast, a dozen small factors that you learn to judge by feel and experience. She glances at the window where the sky is just beginning to show the faintest hint of not quite blackness. By the time these are ready to bake, dawn will be breaking. The timing works out perfectly, as it always does. Bread has its own rhythm, its own schedule. We work around it, not the other way around. That's an important lesson for life, I think. Some things can't be rushed, can't be forced. They happen in their own time, and all we can do is provide the right conditions and wait patiently. While the bread rises for its second and final time, there are other things to prepare. The baker moves to a large marble slab set into a corner of the work table, a beautiful piece of stone that's been here since the bakery was built, cool to the touch even in the warm room. Marble stays cold, she explains, which is essential for pastry work. Now for the morning pastries, she says, her voice taking on a note of particular pleasure. You sense that while she loves all aspects of baking, pastries might be a special favorite. These are what bring people in early, before they've even thought about what bread they need for dinner. A fresh croissant, a sweet roll, still warm from the oven, these are small luxuries that make the morning feel special. Not necessarily like bread, perhaps, but important in their own way. Everyone deserves a little beauty in their morning. She brings out butter from the cool room of the bakery, a separate small room built into the north wall where things stay cold even in summer. The butter is from the dairy farm just outside the village, made yesterday and delivered last night. It's real butter, cultured and churned by hand, yellow as sunshine and rich with cream. She unwraps it from its wax paper covering, revealing the pale gold block. And there's dough, this one different from the bread dough prepared yesterday and rested overnight in the cold room. She brings it out in a neat rectangle, already rolled once and folded. The dough is smooth and pale, firmer than bread. Dough with a different texture that speaks of its different purpose. This is laminated dough, the baker explains, laying it carefully on the marble. It's made by folding butter between layers of dough over and over, creating hundreds of thin layers. When it bakes, the butter melts and steams, pushing the layers apart, creating those flaky pastries everyone loves. But it requires patience and care. The butter must stay cold, solid, or it will melt into the dough and you'll lose the layers. Watch, she says, and you pay close attention. She rolls the dough out gently with a wooden rolling pin, working from the center outward, her movements even and controlled. The dough extends into a larger rectangle, thin but not too thin. Then she places pieces of the cold butter across 2/3 of the dough, spacing them evenly, leaving 1/3 empty. The butter should be cold but pliable, she explains, pressing it gently with her fingers to spread it slightly. If it's too cold, it will break when you fold. If it's too warm, it will melt. You want it like firm clay, able to bend but holding its shape. She folds the empty third of dough over the middle third, covering half the butter. Then she folds the remaining third over that, creating 3 layers of dough with 2 layers of butter between them. She presses the edges to seal, then turns the whole thing 90 degrees. Now we roll again, she says, and demonstrates, rolling the folded dough out into a long rectangle. Again. The motion is hypnotic, the butter disappearing between layers of dough, being pressed thinner and thinner but never breaking through. When the rectangle is the right size, she folds it again, the same way. 3 layers becoming 9 layers. We'll do this once more, she says, and then we'll have 27 layers. That's enough for beautiful pastries. Professional bakers might go further, creating hundreds of layers, but for a village bakery, 27 layers is enough. 27 gives lovely results without being excessive. She works the dough through one more turn, her movements sure and practiced, then wraps it and sets it aside to rest for a few minutes while the butter refirms. The dough needs rest between turns, she explains. The gluten gets stretched and needs time to relax. If you don't let it rest, it fights you, shrinks back, becomes tough. But with rest, it becomes pliable again, willing to be shaped. You help where you can, learning the feel of the pastry dough, so different from bread. This dough is more delicate, requires a lighter touch, cooler hands. The baker teaches you to feel the difference between properly cold butter and butter that's starting to soften, to notice when the dough is beginning to resist and needs rest. It's all about attention, about noticing subtle signals, about responding to what the dough needs rather than imposing what you want. When the dough has rested, the baker unwraps it and rolls it out one final time into a large rectangle about a 1/4 inch thick. She uses a large knife to cut it into triangles, each one perfect and even. These will be croissants, she says, showing you the classic shape. The word means crescent in French, for the shape we'll make them into. She demonstrates with the first triangle, rolling it from the wide base toward the point, her hands gentle but firm, creating even tension throughout the roll. When she reaches the point, she tucks it under slightly, then curves the whole thing into a gentle crescent, the tips pulled slightly apart. The croissant sits on the baking sheet, perfectly formed, ready for its final rise. You try one yourself, rolling the dough, feeling how it wants to spring back, but yielding when you're patient. Your croissant isn't quite as neat as hers, one side slightly thicker than the other, but she nods approval. Good, she says. You're learning to feel what the dough needs. That's the most important skill in baking. Not recipes or techniques, but sensitivity, the ability to notice and respond. Together you shape all the triangles into croissants, each one placed carefully on cloth-lined trays with space between for rising. The baker makes sweet rolls too, spreading the remaining dough with cinnamon and sugar before rolling it into a log and slicing it into spirals. She places these in the baking pan where they'll rise together, touching, creating pull-apart rolls. These will take another rise before baking, she says, covering them with cloths. But they're quick, only an hour or so compared to bread's longer timing. People will be waking then, thinking about breakfast, and these will be ready, warm from the oven, the smell drawing them here like magic. The ovens. The baker checks the ovens, their heat steady and strong. She tosses a bit of flour onto the floor of one oven and it browns immediately, telling her the temperature is right. The ovens are the heart of the bakery, she says. I fire them every morning, feed them throughout the day, bank them at night so they never fully cool. They're like living things, these ovens. They have moods and preferences. You learn them over time. The first loaves are ready to bake now, risen and rounded, ready to become bread. The baker scores them with a sharp blade, cutting quick slashes across the top. This lets them expand properly in the heat, she explains. Without the cuts, they'd burst unpredictably. With them, they open beautifully, creating that classic bread look. She uses a long wooden peel to slide the loaves onto the hot oven floor, working quickly so the heat doesn't escape. The loaves go in pale and soft, and immediately you can hear them begin to work. Small sounds as the heat hits the moisture in the dough as the bread begins its transformation. 25 minutes, the baker says, closing the oven door. Then we'll have bread. While the bread bakes, there's time for a brief rest. The baker prepares tea, heating water in a kettle on a small stove, separate from the baking ovens. The tea is herbal, something she's made herself, and she pours it into 2 ceramic mugs, both chipped from years of use but clean and serviceable. You sit together at the end of the work table, the only clear space in a room full of dough and flour and rising things. The tea is hot and fragrant, warming your hands through the mug. This is my favorite time, the baker says quietly, staring at her tea. These hours before dawn, when the village is still asleep and it's just me and the bread and the quiet. There's something deeply peaceful about making bread in these hours. It feels like being part of something very old, very continuous. Bakers have been waking before dawn to make bread for as long as there have been villages. I'm part of that tradition, part of that long chain of people who feed their communities. She sips her tea. It's good work, she continues. Hard sometimes. The hours are difficult. The heat in summer can be overwhelming, but it's honest work. I make something real and necessary. At the end of each day, I can see what I've done. All those loaves, all those pastries, all going out to feed people, to nourish them, to bring a moment of pleasure or comfort to their day. That matters. You understand what she means. There's something deeply satisfying about this work, about the physicality of it, the creativity within structure, the service of it. The smell of baking bread begins to fill the room, that unmistakable scent that speaks of home and comfort and care. The loaves are browning in the ovens, becoming what they were always meant to be. The baker stands and moves to the ovens, opening one to check. The loaves inside are golden brown, perfectly risen, their scored tops opened beautifully to reveal the light interior. She nods, satisfied, and uses the peel to remove them, sliding them onto a wooden rack to cool. The loaves are beautiful, each one perfect in its imperfection. The crusts are deep golden, crackling as they cool. The smell is incredible, rich and yeasty and warm. The smell that has comforted humans for thousands of years. The first loaves are always special, the baker says, admiring them. They're like a promise that the day will be good, that everything will work out. I never get tired of this moment, of seeing the first bread of the day come out perfect and golden and ready. She taps one with her finger and it sounds hollow, the sign of a well-baked loaf. Then, to your surprise, she breaks one open, steam rising from the interior. The crumb is perfect, full of holes, light and airy. She tears off a piece and hands it to you. "The baker's privilege," she says with a smile. "First taste of the day's bread." You take the bread. It's still almost too hot to handle, but you bring it to your mouth. The crust is crispy and flavorful, the interior soft and perfect. It tastes like everything good about mornings, about work, about care. It's just bread, just flour and water and salt and yeast. But somehow it's also more than that. It's nourishment and comfort and home. The work continues as the sky outside begins to lighten. That gradual shift from black to grey to the first hints of blue and pink. More loaves go into the ovens. The croissants, risen and ready, follow them. Sweet rolls studded with raisins. Braided breads brushed with egg wash. Simple round rolls that will be perfect for sandwiches. Each item is made with care, shaped with attention, baked with expertise. The baker moves through her tasks with the ease of long practice, but also with presence, with awareness. She's not just going through motions. She's engaged with her work, noticing when dough needs a bit more time, when the oven needs adjustment, when the color is exactly right for removal. You help where you can, learning the rhythms of the bakery, the flow of work that makes everything come together at exactly the right time. It's like a dance, each task leading naturally to the next. Nothing wasted, nothing rushed. As you work, you become aware of sounds outside, a door opening somewhere, footsteps on cobblestones, a dog barking a morning greeting. The village is beginning to wake, slowly, peacefully, as it has every morning for centuries. The sky visible through the window is lighter now. The stars faded, the deep blue giving way to the soft colors of dawn. Pink and gold touch the clouds. The first birds begin to sing, tentative at first, then more confident as the light grows. "They'll be coming soon," the baker says, meaning the first customers. The farmers who need bread for their field workers. The merchant who opens her shop early. The old men who gather at the tavern for morning coffee and conversation. They know what time the first bread is ready, and they come like clockwork. She's right. As the last batch of loaves comes from the oven, you hear the shop bell ring. The first customer has arrived. The baker wipes her hands on her apron and moves through to the shop, and you follow. She flips the sign on the door from closed to open, smiling at the farmer waiting outside. "Good morning, Thomas," she says warmly. "The usual." "Good morning, Marie," he replies. "Yes, please. 6 loaves for the workers and one of those beautiful braids for my wife." She wraps his bread in brown paper tied with string. He pays the transaction easy and friendly, then leaves with a wave, his bread tucked under his arm. More customers follow, each one greeted by name, each order filled with care. You watch as the shelves that were empty an hour ago fill with the morning's baking, then slowly empty again as the village buys its daily bread. The baker works the shop with the same calm efficiency she brought to the baking. She knows everyone, knows what they'll want before they ask, adds a sweet roll for a child without being asked, refuses payment from an old woman who's clearly struggling, waving away her protests. This is community, you think. This is what it means to be part of a village. To know and be known, to care for and be cared for. The bakery isn't just a shop, it's a gathering place, a touchstone, a daily ritual that binds people together. By 7 o'clock, the rush has passed. The early customers have come and gone. The shelves are full but not crowded. The ovens are cooling, their work done for the morning. Later there will be more baking for the afternoon, but for now, there's a lull. The baker invites you to sit in the shop and she brings fresh bread and butter, jam she made herself from last summer's berries, and more tea. You eat together looking out the window at the village going about its morning. Children walk to school, calling to each other. Shops open their shutters. A cart rattles past, heading to market. It's all so ordinary, so peaceful, so right. Thank you for your help this morning, the baker says. It's good to have company in the pre-dawn hours to share the work and the quiet. You're welcome to come back anytime. There's always bread to be made and the morning always comes, reliable as sunrise. You thank her for the teaching, for the bread, for the glimpse into her world. Something about the morning has settled into you, something peaceful and grounding. The rhythm of the work, the warmth of the ovens, the smell of baking bread. It's a memory you'll carry, something to return to when you need peace. You step out of the bakery into a morning now fully arrived. The sun is up, golden and warm, chasing away the lost shadows. The village is awake and busy, but in a peaceful way. Everyone going about their work with purpose but not hurry. You walk slowly back through the streets, the smell of bread still clinging to your clothes. You can smell it baking from other kitchens too, families making their own bread, the whole village engaged in this ancient ritual of turning grain into sustenance. The cobblestones are warm under your feet. The morning air is fresh and clean. You feel tired from the early rising, but it's a good tired, the satisfied fatigue that comes from productive work, from creating something useful and beautiful. As you walk, you think about what you've learned, that bread requires patience and care, that good work is its own reward, that being part of a community means showing up day after day to do what needs doing, that the simplest things, flour and water and fire, can become something that nourishes both body and soul. The village continues around you, everyone starting their day, and you're part of it, connected by the shared experience of morning, of work, of being present in this place at this time. Sleep now, baker, your work for the morning is complete. The bread is made, the village is fed. The day has begun well. Rest knowing that simple work done with care matters. That nourishment comes in many forms, that being part of something larger than yourself, whether it's a village or a tradition, or the simple act of making bread, gives life meaning and purpose. The ovens will cool now. The shop will continue its quiet business. The next batch of dough is already rising, preparing for the afternoon baking. The work continues as it always has, as it always will. But for you, rest has come. Let yourself settle like dough in a warm place. Let your breathing slow like rising bread, patient and steady. Let sleep come as naturally as dawn follows night. The smell of fresh bread lingers. The warmth of the bakery remains. The satisfaction of work well done fills you. Sleep deeply, rest well. Dream of golden loaves and morning light. All is baked, all is shared, all is exactly as it should be. Good morning and good night.